Welcome to Your Mental Health Matters, brought to you by OMV. This is your girl, Crystal. We are back with an amazing podcast this evening. And so the topic for tonight's podcast is back to school without the burnout. It's about that time, y'all. Yes. We are going to share some practical tools when it comes to going back to school, transitioning of how to manage your mental health, your emotional health, not just the parents, but the children as well. So it's been a lot going on. Kids are back in school now. We're excited. So what is it we want to tap into this evening? Where do we want to start?
Well,
like just jump. It's a lot. It's a lot. Right. It's okay.
Control the chaos.
Yes.
Control the chaos. And typically, I know most of Fort Wayne kids are going back this coming week.
Yes.
But typically, we would hope the parents would start getting in a routine maybe 2 weeks ahead of time. But we're already in that. So get the chaos controlled by getting a routine for your little ones and the older ones as well.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a structure and having routine and schedules.
It's a beautiful thing.
It helps.
Yes.
It takes time, you just sit down and actually look at that calendar. You know what I mean? And see, break stuff up so you don't feel so overwhelmed.
That
You
part.
can break it down into little chunks. And also, too, it's not too late to start new routines, just, maybe not overhaul the whole system.
Right.
Little by
one thing at a time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's definitely being proactive. It's going to help you have that kind of, you can fall into your routine when things are stressful. You know what I mean? And if you get a little off, it's easy to get back on track, 1 or 2 days out, as opposed to 3 months down the road. Now you're trying to
catch
that part.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like the parents should sit down with the kids and let them know, hey, we're about to be in it again.
Yeah.
You know, and setting those times.
That's true.
For the meals, meal prepping on the weekend.
Yeah.
So it's not so hectic during the week when it's time to do the homework and everything. So,
And involve them in all of that, I think. If they're interested, obviously. Don't shove it down their throat.
I think
Just
involve them.
Yeah,
I
yes.
think kids appreciate that.
Yeah. What's going on?
What's going on, and then get a little bit of their input. And not that we always take it, but it's okay to voice your concern.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And I find working in the high school, the ninth grade and the 12th grade are when they're stressful. Ninth grade is coming from being on a total different schedule in middle school, and then they're coming into high school with a total different environment.
Yes.
And most freshmen they're just panicking.
Right.
The least little thing causes panic
Yeah.
in the freshmen. So I think as the parents and the student, they need to talk to them prior to them entering high school, what to expect
Right.
and how to maneuver. Because and I'm a nurse in a high school. So in grade schools, I know some kids, even in high school, have routine meds that they have to take. But in grade school, they're used to being called down at the time to get their medicine. But in high school, it's up to them to know what time it is to come down. And then with the seniors, it's like, where do I go from here? This is it.
So much pressure.
Yeah, there's a lot. This is it. Okay. I got to decide my career path. I got to decide this. Next school year, I'm on my own, whether I'm in college, whether I'm employed somewhere. So they have especially in the second semester, you see a lot of stress with the seniors.
So are the schools or is your school doing anything in particular for like the seniors when it comes to that? Do they have sessions where they can get together and kind of decompress from the stress?
We have great counselors in our building, and the seniors know from day one that they are there for them. And so if they run into what they consider a roadblock, they're well, basically everybody in the building, anyone they can choose to go to, but the counselors especially, they can go in and tell them, what's going on and why they feel the way they do, and they'll talk them through it, walk them through it.
That's good.
I love that.
Good.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing, first, we got to make sure we set a schedule, right?
Yeah.
Coming off from summer break, sleeping in, going to bed late. Yeah. So now we got to get that routine. And so parents, talk to your little ones, talk to your teens, your high schoolers, let them know, like, we got to get back into a routine, a healthy routine. Yeah.
Because it's going to take at least a couple weeks.
Yeah.
If you're doing the same routine, it's going to take a couple weeks for everybody to get adjusted with that. But you do have to have boundaries on, turning off the gadgets and turn off the TVs at certain times now. However, they probably won't go right to sleep initially.
Right.
But once you get them into that, and once they get used to getting up early again, it'll balance itself out eventually.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. So we got routine. What else we got to help parents and kids transition smoothly back into the new school year?
Healthy eating.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
That's huge. Yeah.
It is. Healthy eating.
Yeah.
Because as Tamara just said, they are used to staying in bed till they decide to get up.
Right.
And grabbing whatever. But they have to have that healthy eating now going to school. Their breakfast is important.
Yeah.
That they have a good breakfast, something balanced, because it's a gap between breakfast and lunch at school.
Yeah.
So we don't want them anxious because they're hungry.
Yeah.
Especially with our little ones. When they are hungry, they are hungry.
Yeah, I believe that.
They're not thinking about work.
Where's the food?
They're thinking about what time I'm going to eat.
Yes.
So they have to healthy eating.
As you say that, I find it convenient to have maybe, and I know a lot of these breakfast bars may be full of sugar, however, or a piece of fruit, a piece of banana or something. Yeah. Have something for that kid to eat in the morning, because like Miss Pat said, it's frustrating. It's frustrating for an adult if you don't eat by a certain time, and you're not going to focus on anything else.
That's
until
true.
You are fed.
Yeah.
So that could get stressful in the sense that now you have a problem kid because they're focused on eating and then they're being disruptive, and then that can come into something else with behavior.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
So
how do you expect them to behave? I know I don't.
Right.
I got an attitude. I get too hungry. You know what I'm saying?
And as we say that, though, I know that some families struggle.
Right.
But I do know that some schools will provide, or some classrooms
True.
will provide things for the kids, and hopefully that's taken care of at all the schools.
Yeah.
Where they're not missing out on
that part.
Those important meals.
Well, and you mentioned something earlier too, the meal prepping. You know, you can take an hour out of your week and sit with your kid. You know, you're talking about like the breakfast bars. You could make them. They're not that hard. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I understand some people are like, oh, it's one more thing to do. But honestly, if you look, there's so many YouTube videos you can watch. Yeah. If you look up a recipe, and that's something again you and your kid can do together, and just take that time out off of screens, make your little oatmeal raisin bars or whatever.
Well, I wasn't saying we make them.
Yeah, I'm saying, again, I go back to
already packaged.
The prepackaged, But I go back to that where you can make sure that they're not too much sugar.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's and again too, I think it's when getting them more involved in their diet, so they can see what's there. When they see those foods come together, they're more interested in trying new things.
If they can help put it together. I got.
But if all they're eating is frozen pizzas and Lunchables, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They get that palate gets used to that kind of stuff, and next thing you know, come Christmas.
So then we'll tie into not just with the eating. The exercise, we always go back to that because it's an important part of our mental health.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And I know most schools don't do the gym anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe make an extra 5 minutes in the morning to do some stretching, some good stretching with the family, some deep breathing, some meditation and relaxation a little bit.
I like that.
And it doesn't take long.
No.
And once you get into that routine, it'll be second nature to do that.
Yeah.
So taking some time out for that.
Yeah.
Nighttime routine is going to be really important. You know, making sure the clothes is folded and ironed. You know, the book bags are packed. So when you wake up, the morning time transition can be a lot
much
smoother.
easier.
Yes.
So, for the younger ones, I find it helpful to get the clothes prepped for Sunday night. What you're going to wear
For the
for
whole
that
week.
week.
Yeah.
And those that can get themselves dressed,
Yeah.
you know, after they're freshened up and what have you, that's helpful.
Yeah.
So much less stress.
That's true.
One less choice to make in the morning.
Yes,
Yeah.
these are Monday, these are Tuesday.
Yeah, very organized because your morning can go off so much better when, you know, your
already
kids,
know.
kids are, you know, their clothes is ready, you know, book bag, they got their lunch, you know, breakfast, and everybody's out the door.
And then I know a lot of schools talking about getting dressed. A lot of schools have uniforms, and that helps because being in the parochial school like I am, they don't have a choice. They know what they're going to wear Monday through Friday. No ifs, ands, and buts. And I know a lot of the public schools have uniforms. So that helps that they know they don't have to decide if my pants match my shirt for the little ones, or if I want to wear my Bugs Bunny today and mom left out the, something else. And that's just not what I wanted to put on. So it does help that they have the uniforms.
So I agree with that. And I'm not sure why all schools don't do that, because it decreases the pressure and the stress of trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Bullying.
I know that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
No,
But
I
it's
used
true.
to disagree with it, but I agree with it now. I can see the usefulness of having that uniform. You know what I mean? It just
This takes
But
the
yeah,
pressure
that's
off the kids that can't afford some of the things.
Because they all look alike.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That part.
so. But I was going to say, kind of touching back on the theme again, I feel like we've been talking a lot about, the being proactive, not waiting for things to fall apart,
that part.
actually planning things. And I think going back to like the health and stuff, I think it's a good time to start scheduling those appointments, those checkups with doctors, psychiatrists, whoever you need to see, instead of waiting until there's a problem. A lot of people fall off of therapy during the summer, especially if you were only seeing your school counselor.
That's very
You know what I
true.
mean? And so I think it's a good time to start, getting those appointments scheduled, because then when you need it, they're there.
Yeah.
As opposed to now you got to wait 2 months to get in to see somebody.
That's
and,
true.
In a crisis.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they have like mental health counselors in the schools now.
Yeah.
Elementary schools, middle and high school. I think that is so important, like for parents to, introduce yourself or get to know who the counselor is. I think that'd be really helpful.
And bringing up that subject, is there an opportunity for the parents to actually sit down with the counselor?
It's a good question.
Or are the parents receptive of the counselor, available to the kids? Because I think some are just blocked by, it's not my kid.
Yeah.
That needs assistance, but we need to be more mindful of that and have them tune in more, with their kid. And it's not always when there's a problem.
That's true.
Right.
That's
but
true.
just to, have an option for
That's
them
it.
to have a better day.
Yeah. To be able to form that relationship.
And have more allies at one of the places it's the most difficult to get along. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, because none of those people are your family. They ain't got to love you. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's very true.
And I think too, working in schools, and again, it was years ago, but I think it was a lot of it was how those counselors were utilized. The ones that were going into classrooms and talking to kids and teachers and just having those moments. So then when there was a crisis, there was, there's a
Kind of
connection.
used to them. There was already a
That's
relationship.
true.
Yeah.
The relationship is so important.
It is.
So important.
And unfortunately, I will say, like, we had a lot of parents that were just kind of like, well, that's y'all's problem. You deal with it there. I can't be getting calls at work. So I can't come to therapy at school.
Yeah.
But then you can still recommend or refer them to therapy outside of school,
Yes,
family
there's
therapy
options,
stuff. Yeah, give them
right.
options. I think that's another thing too. Or, as a parent, ask for options. Maybe that's something.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things too with parents, sometimes I don't want to say that they're too proud, but they are hesitant when they have issues.
Yeah.
They're hesitant to go to an outsider and let
Right.
that outsider know whether it's financial,
Right.
whether it's illness or anything.
Mhm.
They're just hesitant
Yeah.
to go to an outsider and tell them what's going on in their household.
Yeah.
Because you think about, the consequences. A lot of times people think of the worst thing. Like,
Mhm.
True.
okay,
Yeah.
they're going to call
CPS, and all
CPS,
that.
Child Protective
Yeah.
Services, and
Mhm.
they're going to be all up in my business.
Yeah.
I can't afford that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but are they going to tell every parent going to know what's that we're suffering?
Right.
So they don't want it to be, is my child going to be put on the spot?
Right.
You know, my child is the one that's getting the free lunch where it is there. But I don't think anymore there are separate lines
know,
for
'cause,
lunches. I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
do
I know at
remember
our
that.
school there isn't.
Yeah, which is good.
Nobody knows
That's a
who's
good
on
thing,
the
right.
free or
Right.
reduced lunch unless they tell them.
Right.
So there are no separate lines, but I know in the past there used to be separate lines, so everybody knew. So parents are hesitant to let them know that we are in that financial situation
Yeah.
because I don't want my child to be mocked or picked
And it
on
was
by the others.
a form of shame.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a big
Because I
one.
remember they had 3 lines when
Mm.
I was going to school. And then it was like you get the same food. So what is
Why
the
was
problem?
the separation?
It was a separation of free, reduced, and full.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I remember those days. Yeah.
Mhm. Do you
So-
think schools is doing a better job with making sure that they're providing those resources for parents and kids when it comes to if they see a struggle or a need?
We do at our school.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Which is a good thing because everything you just said is on point. People are scared,
Mhm.
shame,
Yeah.
don't want to be judged. And it's just like, how can you get that help if you're not open to receive it?
Mhm.
So that's where that trust, forming those healthy relationships with the school staff, I think is going to be really important. I know if you're a single mom, dad, can't get to the school as often, but there's always virtual, there's
Yeah.
always, online, having those conferences or just doing those check-ins.
Mhm.
They need to see your face though. For real.
Yeah.
They need
Yeah.
to see that you care about your kid. You know what I
Caring
mean?
about your
Mhm.
And
kid.
you're receptive to help if you need it, and that
Yeah.
you want to collaborate. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
that's
You
a
want
big
to work with
word.
them. You feel me?
Yes.
And I'm sorry, you're gonna just see them sooner or later. You're gonna see them when they're getting suspended and there's problems, or you go in there beforehand and get
Keeping
to
it
know them
real.
and
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to those meetings and set up. Do that. And again, I have kids with special needs, so it's like you have different providers too. You need to meet with. You know what I mean? You have the one working on the treatment plan or whatever, the care plan, but you have someone else that's seeing the kid every day in the classroom. And then you got the teacher. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's again going back to I think a lot of schools want to work with families,
Yeah.
want to work with, and collaborate with families. So
Yeah.
I hope it's different than when I was working in schools, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
we
part.
hope.
And I know there's special, there's cases, man. There's always special teachers out there and school staff that go above and beyond.
Yes,
for
they
kids,
do. Yes, they do.
But I'm like, but you can't burn those folks out, man, because then what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So sorry, but that's another conversation, right?
All of us
But it's
tying
all
into
right.
every
Yes.
conversation.
Yeah.
And one thing I had, and I don't know if you were going to mention that, Miss Crystal, but bullying.
Oh, yeah.
When the new kids are coming
I
from
know.
other schools or moving into maybe fifth grade to middle school,
Mhm.
it's like, do they have the tools that they need to adjust emotionally and making those connections, healthy connections? And then if not, do the kids know, again, the resources,
That part.
how to talk to the parents,
Mhm.
and then the parents identifying if there's an issue with the kids.
Mhm.
And that's just to me picked up by knowing your kid.
I was
And if
thinking
there's
that.
some differences in them and how they're acting,
Yes, pay
and what's
attention.
going on,
Right.
then address those things as they come up, because bullying can be definitely a mental health hindrance.
That's a
And
lot.
it's a lot of that going on lately.
Yeah.
And we have to be mindful of that and do what we need to do to address it.
And I think it has moved away from when we, especially me, I'm the oldest one sitting here,
Okay. So
bullying, it was verbal, but
Mhm.
now it's cyber.
Yes, that's huge.
Even me, I didn't understand it when I first heard the word cyberbullying.
Yeah.
You know, how can somebody bully you over the phone? Hang up. That was my
Right.
thought. You know, that
Yes.
was my thought.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond
It's way
that.
deeper
That's
than
right.
And
that.
I
Yeah.
have had training, so I know
Okay.
now
Mm.
that it goes beyond that. It's not as simple as hanging up the
Hanging
phone,
up the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because there are so many ways that everybody know what's going. When it's out there, it's out there.
done.
Can't get it
It's,
back.
it's out there.
And I'm glad you said that, because kids need to be reminded
Yeah.
that what they post, what they do, with who
Man.
they do it with, on social media,
Right.
by phone, by tablet, what have you,
Mhm.
that's a done deal.
Mm.
So it's out there forever.
Can't get it back.
Can't
No.
get it back, even
Mhm.
when you erase it off your phone. So be mindful of that,
Yeah.
the choices that you're making in that.
Mhm.
And then encouraging, and that goes back to parents, encouraging the kids,
Mm.
you know, emotionally and mentally and socially
Yeah.
at
Mhm.
home, so they can have enough grounding when they go out to school.
Right. I
And
love
those
that.
things happen, and maybe they'll be better able to handle it,
Mhm.
you know. So that starts at home.
Very
Mhm.
true.
Yeah.
I'm checking. We got a comment. It
Okay.
says, "Hello, ONV family. Been missing you all. Love the
Aw.
conversation. Love you all. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And please don't stop. We need you."
Oh,
With the
thank
heart.
you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
appreciate you.
I love that.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
if anybody have any questions, or, we're talking about how to transition back into the new school year, how to make sure you're not burning out, our parents, our kids, because there's a lot going on right now. And so we just want to give you guys tools, things that you could take with you to help manage your mental and your emotional health.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So we got schedule. We got making sure that we are in tune with our kiddos,
Yeah.
making sure that they're eating before they leave home. What other things that we can?
I was thinking
Go
when we were
ahead.
talking about schedule, I think it's good too to schedule something fun. I mean, we're usually
Yeah.
scheduling doctor's appointments and,
Right.
haircuts and stuff like that.
That's
But,
true.
scheduling something to look forward to. If there's a movie coming out y'all
I
want
love
to see,
that.
if there's, a game you want to play together. I mean, something, scheduling some event, something to do together. So again, those months that go by,
Yeah.
those low moments, you still have
Yes.
something to look forward to. Well, that's this weekend. So we're going to play laser tag. So let me go ahead and keep
and
it
that
together.
increases the endorphins.
There you
Anticipation
go.
Yes.
increases
Yep.
endorphins.
Yes.
And that would be like a motivation for the kid to do what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
Whether it's in the classroom or at home,
Mm-hmm.
it's motivation. Everybody put that on the calendar, circle it, star it, whatever.
Something to look forward to.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good.
I love
That's
that.
good.
And
Did we talk about? Go ahead.
I
Miss
was
Pat.
just going to say one other thing. When you have more than one child,
Right.
you
yes.
can't compare them.
No.
Please
They're
don't.
individuals.
Mhm.
This one may be the A student.
Mm.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to study. Ace it, period.
Yeah.
Then you got one that's the BC student
Yeah.
and it's try their hardest. And
Right.
so you can't compare them.
Yeah.
Well, if she brings home an A, why can't you bring home an
Yeah,
A?
the expectations,
You can't do
yeah.
that.
Mm.
No.
You have
Effort.
to let them be
Yeah.
their own person. My
Mhm.
rule in my house with my kids was, now I didn't do F's because F's mean that you didn't put forth
Yeah, no
any
effort.
effort
You
whatsoever.
had to try not to.
Right.
Like, there was a time you wanted to do that assignment. You're like, nah, I ain't even doing that. Yeah.
So, but
the-
that's it. I mean, F mean that they didn't try
Didn't
at
try
all.
at all.
Yeah.
But if their best is a C, accept that C.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Keep it
Yeah.
moving.
If they put that best effort.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
key.
emphasize
Everything.
best.
Right.
Yeah,
best
right,
effort.
right. Well, I always say, it's about attitude and effort.
Yes.
If you go there with a positive attitude
Come on.
and you put the effort into it, you did your job. You did your job.
That
That's
part.
it. You know what I'm
That
saying?
part.
So but if I know you're not doing nothing, you know what I'm saying? That's different.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
really
That's totally
different.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the thought of consequences, right?
Oh, yes.
So not necessarily saying punishments and
Right.
stuff like that, but what do you guys think about as going into the school year, you know, as issues do arise,
right, which they
you
will.
know, what are the consequences? What do we do? What's a good idea?
Well, what do the kids like the most?
Yeah.
And every kid's not going to like the same thing.
But yeah.
Every kid's not going to like the same thing.
Yeah.
So I find it good. Whatever that kid likes the most, that does the most correction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Correct.
But again, I've struggled like if the kid loves football.
Okay.
Don't let him
You'll
play
be on the
football.
bench.
You know what I'm
you let 'em
saying? You
dress
still
for
got to
the
go to
game.
practice and stuff.
You
Yeah.
can dress for the game, but you're going to be on that bench, and we'll talk to the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but again, I like that. You know what I'm saying? I like that. That's a plan. You know what I'm saying?
Don't be the star player.
Yeah. And again,
Right.
any coach would support that. You know what I'm saying? No
Yes.
pass, no
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
part.
So again, if it's an issue, but yeah, I'm just, I'm
So
thinking of,
support your teams.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good, You got to think about consequences.
Yes. Yeah.
Did we talk about sleep already? I know we were talking about.
Yeah. Well, I want to, a little bit, but I want to ask, what are questions we can ask our kiddos? You know, instead of, how was your day? You know, how can we
reframe it?
reframe it? Yes.
What did you do today?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine.
What
That's
did
my
you
go-to.
do? Those open-ended,
Yes.
open-ended questions.
That's
yeah.
it. That's it. Because you're going to
And
get.
Yeah,
I don't
I don't
know.
know, and I don't care.
And how did it make you feel?
How did it make you feel?
Yes. Yes.
And that's good for like the dinner time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and having those types of routines and not just, the chaos of it's home, we got to get dinner,
Yeah,
got to go to
yeah.
bed, whatever. But yeah, checking in with the kids because that makes them feel involved and important
Yes.
in
Like-
the family.
Knowing their friends' names, the kids they hang out with. You know,
Right.
That's why, hey, how was old dude today? Did you see your friend? Did you see
That's
so and so?
good.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, oh yeah, he was acting crazy. You know what I'm saying? But you tapping in with him, and you knowing now too how his friend be acting. You know? So
Yeah.
you hang out with at
That's
school.
good.
That
Yeah.
part.
But yeah, that too is again goes back to tapping in with your kid and having those
Yeah.
moments at dinner time or
Mhm.
taking a walk after dinner.
Mhm.
Maybe we don't eat all together in the same room because our schedules are so crazy.
Mhm.
But let's get together and take a walk together at 7:00. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Something
that's
like
right.
that.
That's right.
You know, I think is good too. But
And having those emotional check-ins,
Yeah.
just kind of checking in, like where are they emotionally? You know,
Observant.
again, it's going to be the first couple of weeks. It's going to be a lot, but we want to make sure we keep that consistent.
Yeah.
How are you doing? What was hard for you today? Anything that made you smile today?
I like that. And I like looking at it too, like doing things without an agenda, where we spend time together and we ain't got to go do nothing. We don't have to spend
Yeah.
money. We can just kick it for a
Chill.
second. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And again, it doesn't have to be forever. Like you were saying, the whole stretching in the morning thing, the yoga stuff, and
I love
getting up and
that.
waking up your body and relaxing first thing. That's
Mhm.
amazing. Yeah, do that with your kids.
Yeah.
They'll remember that stuff too.
That's
You know what I'm
very
saying?
true. I remember when I was 8 years old. My
Yep.
mama.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stretching.
Yeah. But I
Every
appreciate
day.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm
I'm
doing that
telling
with
you.
my young kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they blood pressure nice in their 30s, they
Okay.
gonna remember
That
that.
part.
There's a lot of benefits in stretching.
Yeah.
That gets the blood circulating.
Mhm.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're coming up to the end of our show. Time goes by fast.
It does.
Oh my goodness. It's like we only just scratched the surface.
Yeah,
We didn't really
right.
dive into it. But
Yeah.
I hope tonight's podcast, I hope this was helpful for everybody who's tuning in. Just different techniques, coping tools that you can use yourself along with your kiddos. So again, any lasting impressions or things that we want to leave the audience tonight?
I just say control the chaos with your routines.
Please.
Yes. And check in when you need to. We have resources here with the ONV
Yes.
crew, and there are a lot of Fort Wayne Community School resources and Bishop Lewis resources.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what
Yeah.
I have.
Anybody else?
Be positive.
Yes.
Right, I like that. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. You catch yourself saying something negative, try to say something positive.
Mhm. I love that.
Yeah. I'd also say too, one thing we didn't mention kind of going into school, the winter's coming up. And we'll talk about
Yeah.
these things, but the
Yes.
whole seasonal affective stuff.
It's
and,
coming up.
Seasonal
Mhm.
depression and all those things are coming up. So the stressors of the holidays.
Mm.
So again, something to be proactive about. Start thinking about that now.
Please.
Protect your mind.
Yeah,
You know
there
what
you
I'm
go.
saying?
I love that.
Shoot.
And what I would like to leave everyone with is the goal is not a perfect school year. the goal is a more regulated family. And so everybody who's more in tune with their emotions, regulated, being grounded, you'll feel so much better.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, this is Your Mental Health Matters. We are here on the first and third Friday of each month. Going to bring you guys amazing information when it comes to how to take care of your mind, your body, and your soul. So this is Crystal. We're here. We love you guys, and tune in for our next show. Peace.